For some people, success comes at a very early age. For example, Michael Jackson already had a #1 song with the Jackson 5 when he was only 11 years old. Prince had already signed with Warner Brothers when he was only 18. Stevie Wonder had already released 3 albums on the Motown label by the time he was 13. Then there are people like Mel Waiters. Mel worked at an ironworks factory, went to school to get a radio license, worked as a DJ for over a decade at several different radio stations, and that was before he even decided to pursue a music career full time. Even after doing that, he played at numerous small clubs, predominantly in the South. They weren't always the most luxurious spots. Sometimes, the bathrooms wouldn't even have toilet paper. Other times, the bathrooms would have blinds in the middle of them. On one side, customers could do their business, while on the other side, that served as Mel's dressing room. Nice. The more high-class facilities would cordon off the entire bathroom, at least until Mel was able to get dressed for his show. Talk about holes in the wall. No wonder he was inspired to write a song like that. But even after all that, it would still be over another decade before Waiters finally hit it big at age 41. Melvin Waiters was born June 25, 1956 in San Antonio, Texas. He was the 10th child, and his mother, in an understatement, said she had too many kids. As a result, when he was around 1, his paternal grandparents, Samuel and Vivian Waiters, took him in and they raised him. Reflecting on his grandparents many years later, Mel said that God couldn't have given him anything better than when he gave him his grandparents. Mel grew up on the east side of San Antonio, and his grandmother raised him to believe in God. He would carry that faith with him for his entire life. When Mel was 7, he was already in the choir at Jacob's Chapel United Methodist Church. At the same age, he also got his first instrument, a set of drums that his grandparents gave him for his birthday. In the middle of that first day, they already regretted getting him those things. I have never understood why you would buy drums for somebody that lives where you live. Drums are a gift that you buy for kids that live someplace else. But anyway, Mel loved those drums, and he played them as often as he could. He likes to go out into the garage and listen to the album The O'Jays Live in London. As the album played, Mel would play along during their entire performance on his drum set. He was inspired by James Brown, of course, and Buddy Miles. When he was in junior high, Mel began working with the Godson Brothers Band, and they would cover songs that were popular at the time. They played at teen clubs on various military installations, anywhere from San Antonio to Del Rio. Mel played the drums while also singing lead, just like his heroes Buddy Miles and Phil Collins. Waiters graduated from high school in 1974, and shortly after that began working at the Alamo Ironworks. After he did that for a while, he decided he wanted to do something different. So with an eye toward working in the radio field, he began attending the Elkins Institute, where he got his broadcaster's license. His first radio job was at a station that played only Tejano music. But as time passed, Mel became one of the top R&B disc jockeys in San Antonio. He also DJ'd at local nightclubs. Meanwhile, he was still performing with the Godson Brothers. With them, he recorded a single called Do the Airplane. To be kind, the song didn't do well. Decades later, Waiters would joke that he still had lots of copies of the singles in his garage. In the mid-1980s, while he was working in Beaumont, Texas, Mel left the airwaves for good to make music his full-time job. One of Mel's first moves to aid him becoming a recording artist was to put a sequencer on layaway. Y'all remember layaway, when you used to give a store $1 to put something in the back of the store until you could afford to give them all the money? Anyway, sequencers were expensive, over $1,000 at that time. Mel reflected that it took him a few months to get the money together to finish paying it off. We're going to take a time out from our story to ask you to like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell, and repeat when it comes to our videos. Now, back to our story. Now working with the Mel Waiters concept band, he performed at various clubs across the city. He was good enough at it to turn what was supposed to be a weekend gig into a 7-year residency at the Fort Sam Houston Non-Commissioned Officers Club. As the 1990s rolled around, Mel was still performing locally. In the mid-90s, he wrote the song Hit It and Quit It for buddy Ace, who was a blues singer. Ace liked the song, but unfortunately he would pass away before he had a chance to record it. As a result, Waiters wound up recording the song himself. In 1996, Mel released his album titled I'm Serious on the Serious Sounds record label, which was located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The album included the song Hit It and Quit It. While at an awards show that same year, Waiters met Tommy Couch Jr., who was one of the heads of Malaco Records. Couch wanted to meet with Mel about doing some business. Waiters said that he'd get with Couch later, but then he kind of put it on the back burner. Meanwhile, Mel released another album on Sirius Records titled Suki Suki Man. About a year after having met Couch, Waiters was struggling. Since that time, Mel had recorded another album titled Woman in Need, which included the song Got My Whiskey. Waiters placed an order for over 2,400 copies of the album to be pressed. Unfortunately, he didn't have the money to pay for the shipment, so all he got out of it was a single copy that the pressing plant gave to him. Sometimes, even when he was working, that didn't mean that Waiters was making money. On one weekend, he wound up working for free. Not because he was being nice or because he wanted to. It happened because the people he did the shows for didn't pay him. Said he didn't have money. The Monday after this happened, Mel was scheduled to meet with Tommy Couch at Malaco Records, which was located in Jackson, Mississippi. Mel had to drive there, and the vehicle he had wasn't exactly the most reliable. It was a beat-up old van that was bent in on one side that he had bought from his sister for $750. The van was in such bad shape that it took one dude to lift the door and another dude to pull it so it could close. Additionally, the interior of the van was lined with carpet. Who does that? Which made it extremely hot. This is Texas, and you're going to miss. Come on, man. And the compressor was out. Oh, Lord. Taking his one copy of the CD with him, Waiters met with Couch, who told Mel that the label wanted to sign him. And he wasn't just saying that. The label gave Mel a $20,000 check, and they also gave him a 15-passenger van with a clear title. Mel had never seen the title before. Later, he would reflect that he'd never seen the title to anything, so he never kept the car long enough to pay it off to get the title. After Waiters signed with the label, the album had been out for about 6 months. During that time, record stations had been playing Woman in Need. However, the single wasn't doing that much. People weren't really necessarily getting into it. However, one day, a DJ at Magic 102 in Houston, Texas, played the song Got My Whiskey. This was important because Magic 102 was a large FM station in a major United States city. The DJ then did a double play and played Got My Whiskey 2 times in a row. Mel says them doing that changed his whole life. He says that his relatives started calling him and telling him that his record was being played on Magic 102. Waiters said that he sold 50,000 records in Houston alone because of the song Got My Whiskey. Waiters also now had an in with the radio station. When he recorded the song Hole in the Wall, he got an audience with the station's program director in order to let him check the song out. The program director was so impressed with the song that he told Mel that he was going to start playing it the next day on the air. When Mel told him that the album wasn't finished yet, dude told him, "Hey, that's your problem. I'm about to put this on the air." For Mel, having both Got My Whiskey and Hole in the Wall in major rotation at the large station changed Mel's life instantly as he started getting booked constantly. Got My Whiskey was a hit, and would become Mel's biggest selling single. After being remixed by Big Rob, it went number 24 on the Hot Dance Music Maxi Singles chart. The song inspired numerous club owners to begin naming their spots the hole in the wall. The album, Material Things, went number 5 on the blues charts. As for Mel, he was working so much now that he'd have to take cat naps in between songs while the horn player was doing his solo. Mel's next album, Let Me Show You How to Love, was released in 2001. It reached number 8 on the blues charts. Ultimately, Waiters recorded 6 albums for Malaco: the aforementioned Woman in Need, Material Things, Let Me Show You How to Love, Night Out in 2003, Throwback Days in 2006, and I Ain't Gonna Do It in 2010. In 2010, after 13 years with Malaco, Waiters went independent. He founded his own label, Britney Records, which he named after his daughter. On his imprint, he released the albums Got No Curfew, Poor Side of Town, This Time for Jesus, and Say What's on Your Mind. Mel Waiters passed away on May 28, 2015, after a short battle with cancer. He was only 58 years old. Before we sum up the story, we would be remiss if we didn't address Mel's faith. The lessons about God that his grandmother instilled in him always kept him humble and thankful for his success. Mel always credited anything that he'd ever done in his career to God. He did so because he felt that it was important to let other people know what God had done for him. Despite not reaching the national stage as an artist until a relatively late age, Mel still was able to thrill fans with his outstanding live shows for many years. We even have a testimony about getting a chance to check out one of his concerts.
I went to see Mel Waiters and his band. A lady named September had us cracking up as his opening act. It was packed. The concert was off the chain, and I was personally serenaded with a few songs because I was so close that my table was touching the stage. It was great, and the best part was when Mr. Waiters took the time to praise God for his blessings. Rest in peace, Mel.
His grown folk songs about partying and having a good time have been the highlight of many a crab boil, backyard barbecue, and dare we say, hole-in-the-wall club over the years. At the same time, while the media, among others, usually classified his music as the blues, Waiters pushed back against that. He said that while his lyrical content was blues, his production value was R&B. In fact, he considered himself an R&B artist. His fans didn't care what he classified himself as, though, as long as he kept making that great music. Happy birthday, Mel. What's your favorite Mel Waiters song? Let us know in the comments. Thank you all for checking out our video. We appreciate you spending time with us, and we have other videos that need love too. Take time to check those out as well. Thanks again, and see you soon.